Hi everybody, Jo here again. Thanks for joining me today. Thanks for popping in and spending some time with me. Now today we're going to create a design for July. And I know I always say this, but you know, if you don't have a calendar, this design I think would make a lovely card or even a piece to go in your journal. And the reason I've chosen to do this design today is a couple of ladies have messaged me and said they've had problems just building a simple scene up. So that's what I'm going to do. I've had a little play and I'm just going to quickly show you. This is my idea, but I'm only quickly showing you that because you know what I'm like. It might not be quite as good as that or the same as that, or I do have difficulty making the same thing twice. I don't know about you. So I'm just going to get some copy paper to pop under my July. Two reasons. One, I find I get ink on the month underneath if I'm not careful, but also it just helps with my stamping. You know me, I have this thing where it just, I know we've got the pile of card for the calendar, but for me, just having the copy paper seems to give me a bit of extra oomph. Again, I think that's just me. So I'm going to start off with the lovely fairy towers. Now, and I'm going to stamp in VersaMark clay, and it's the pine cone. Now, recently, I've been using this pine cone a lot. It's a lovely colour rather than black. I'm just trying to stop using black ink all the time. Now, my idea with this is when I've been walking Eric recently, I've seen a lot of the fields near here. We've got so many farms and fields, and a lot of them are being planted up. And I know we don't have a scarecrow stamp, so in my head I thought, what's sort of the next best thing? And it was this beautiful signpost. So that's sort of the way that my head was working. So I'm thinking I'm going to put this, be quite nice just next to the July there. So this is almost like my main focal point. So I'll stamp this first. And this is the way I would build the scene up. Now again, if you have a way that you normally do it, by all means, you know, you do that. Lovely. And I'm going to pop a couple of birds on here from our bird collection. I'm going to keep with the brown. Now again, I might just have to, my head might come over, so I do apologise. It's just obviously trying to get the bird sat on top of our lovely signpost. So there's one. I just want to give him a bit of a wipe before I put him back. And then I'm going to go for the other one. Again, with the brown ink. I think I'll pop him on this bottom one. And because he's a silhouette, it doesn't matter about the signpost being behind him. Lovely. Give that a bit of a wipe. And there are 4 on this collection. Absolutely beautiful. But the other 2 were a little bit large. I love the way we've got the different sizes. Excuse me, because I want to bring Pipin in. So well, since I've used Pipin, I did think, you know, because as soon as the calendars come in, I promise I will let you know. I know you keep messaging me. I did wonder whether next year for my calendar, I might put Pipin on every page and actually have it as a Pipin calendar. My mum adores Pipin. It'd be lovely to make her a Pipin calendar. So that's my thinking. So anyway, so we're going to bring Pipin in. And I'm thinking, could maybe sit him. Should I sit him on the July? Oh no, I think I'll sit him this side of the July. Again, like I say, I just make these things up as I go along, don't I? Right, it's a silhouette, so we'll give him a good, yeah, lovely. Right, so that's Pipin. Now, in the distance, I just wanted to have some trees. So when I was looking at my stamps, I found this is quite an old one. In fact, I used it. We did a Christmas workshop and I found it very useful. And it's lovely. It's got some larger trees, look, but it's got this lovely grouping. And I'm thinking I could almost just give that as something to give me a bit of perspective, a bit of sort of some trees in the distance. Again, remember, you've got your acetate. So, you know, use your acetate. But these are very useful as well, look. Very useful trees. So, again, I'm going to stick with the brown. But I'm not going to over ink this. I want it sort of quite faint. So let's start with maybe there. And then we can just add another one there. And maybe just one on this side. Sort of there. Just to build up that. And again, we'll give that a wipe and pop that back. Trying to be good and putting my stamps back on the acetate when I finish. So we'll just give that a blot. So that's the stamping, the first lot of stamping done. And now we'll just build our scene up a little. So I'm just going to turn sideways and I'm going to bring in our hill masks. And I'm going to start with the flatter one. And I've got a couple of colours of brown here. She says, I've got 2 piles of inks. Right, truffle and henna. Now, I think it was truffle. Shall we go? We'll try. Anyway, we'll have a go with truffle. We'll see. Both beautiful colours. Now, I want to be mindful not to get ink on here. So I'm just going to bring in a piece of kitchen towel because it's easier if I can put my ink pad on here. But obviously, I don't want to get marks. You know what I'm like? I seem to be getting marks on here. So I'm trying to be thinking. So let's just see if we can we angle this? Yes, that would just get them both in, wouldn't it? Right. So I've got a middle stencil brush. This is number 7. And again, I'm just going to start. Go lightly through the July. I don't want to completely obliterate the July. Just nice and light. And then we can come in a bit deeper here. So it gives a bit of impact. Oh, I like that. I've gone over Pipin, but never mind. We can live with that, can't we? Now, I almost want to make this look a bit like it's a field with some you know, when they plough the field. So, just gone on the side there. So we'll bring that in as though it's supposed to be there. And I'm just going to carry on with my brown and just add a little bit as though, as I say, we're just ploughing. I don't want to, let's bring it there just because I don't want to cut Pipin's head off. And this is just generally building this background up. So I don't want to overthink it, but I don't want hills. I want to just keep with this almost like a ploughed field. And I'm just moving. He's not very straight, this farmer. We've not got very straight ploughing. I think he's got a bit distracted when he's been ploughing this field. I mean, I've got to be honest, you could do straight lines, but I don't like straight lines. Just want to give it a bit of variety. After all, I'm going to be looking at this page for a month, aren't I? So I'm just going to add whatever's left, just to add some colour on this last one, just across here, look. Right, and we'll turn that round. So that was truffle in the end. And we'll give this a wipe. And we'll pop those away. And then let's turn it around. Yeah, see, I love the way that's building up. Now for a little bit of brightness, we're going to add the sun. So we're going to do something a bit different today. And from our circle masks, we're going to use almost the outer. Now where shall we put it? See, I quite like it, but I don't want, right, let me see. Oh, I quite like it over there. Yeah, because I don't want to spotlight, because this isn't a spotlight today. We actually want to create the sun. So I'm thinking we're going to go here. So I'm going to use Sundance. I've got Sahara, but I don't think I'm going to use that today. Sundance and Russet Orange. So if you bear with me, I just need to move this to the side a little. And I'm going to use 2 stencil brushes. Sundance is number 7 and Russet Orange is going to be number 3. And I'll explain why. What I'm going to do first, ink in the lid as always, and then on the mask, and then gently. So this is the yellow first. And I just want to create the sun. So just nice, gently, gently, just tickle it. We don't need anything too heavy. Lovely. And then I'm going to come in with the orange. And what I find is with the russet orange, because I want a smaller area of a deeper colour, the smaller stencil brush is perfect for this. But look, pop it on the mask and gently, gently. And we just want some shade at the bottom. We almost want to make the sun look a bit more 3D. So although I'm doing ploughed fields, I just want to brighten this up a bit, some nice warm sun. So I want this to be one of those lovely sunny mornings where you go out in the fields and the birds are just coming to life, and the farmer's planted his field and the birds are there eating his crops as they're coming up. Well, in my head, that's what we're doing. So I'm just tickling round this edge, and as I've got less ink on, then I move into the actual sun, the body of the sun, and that way you'll get it deeper at the edge. Pick up some ink, look. Again, I've not re-inked my brush, look, I'm using what's on my mask. Right, and I'm happy with that, but what I will do is just come in with the yellow, pop it in the lid, and just go over that where it's, and just it almost helps to blend that yellow into the orange. Right, and I'm just going to put the lids on the ink to save me putting my hands in them. Lift that off. Oh, there we go. I like that. So for me, that just gives a nice bright, and it's nice for a change, because quite often, obviously, we make moons, don't we? And we do spotlights. So it's nice to almost have the sun for a change. Now, while I'm thinking, let's add some colour here. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of henna on my mat and come in with this lovely number 1 watercolour brush. Add some water, and we'll just add a little bit of colour to our signpost here. Now I have realised I've forgotten to do the sky, and normally you would do the sky first, but this is me. Do you do that at home? Even when I have an order and I know exactly what I'm going to do, I can still, but it doesn't matter. It's not the end of the world. I often do this. I get so carried away enjoying what I'm doing. I mean, sometimes I set off with an idea in mind, and I don't know about you, but halfway through it completely changes and I end up doing something completely different. But I think that's lovely. So we'll just add, so again, I'm just watercolouring, just because it's a nice, quick, easy way. And we'll just mop that up. And then we'd better add some sky, hadn't we? So I'm just going to turn this way and find my Della Blue. Get my blue brush, and this is the number, I think, is this 9? It's the larger one anyway. And we'll start off over here in the corner and just gently, gently blend a little bit of ink. when you start off, if you start in the corner or at the top and then come into the main page, you'll find you've less chance of getting marks. I mean, to be honest, we're making a sky, so it's never going to be one complete colour. Now, if you wanted, you could put your circle mask over the sun. I'm just going to go around it. But if you're worried about getting blue over that lovely yellow, you could always put the innie and mask it off. But as I say, I'm just going to go around it, because I just want a hint of blue in the sky to take that whiteness off. Right, and we'll turn that round. Lovely. So what we want now is just a couple of finishing touches with this, and we're going to bring in our pastel pencils. Again, I'll just put this on here. So we'll bring in the brown first, and we'll just add a little bit of shading under Pipin, a little bit under, and I'm just going to get one of my biodegradable cotton buds, and we'll just, so again the sun's there, so we know the shadow will come this way, and again with Pipin, and then we'll just add a little bit on the base, just to add with the depth, and then just below, and I'm just thinking I'm going to go to the brown, so just below our tree line here, we'll almost ground it a little. And again, I'm just smudging, it's the pastel pencil, so I think they look better smudged, but to be honest, it does fix them, and then you don't have to worry about fixing them. So just a nice smudge. Lovely. So then we'll get the white and we'll add our usual bits to Pipin. And again, sorry if my head comes over. We'll just add a little bit of shape in his tail. And then on the birds, we can just add a little bit. Again, I don't want to overcook it. I want almost like the simplicity. But what I do want to do is just come in. We've got sort of an orange, it's a pale orange, and what I'm thinking is just to almost make it look that the sun is just catching, almost get that orangey glow. And I've told you before, I'm not very good with gel pens. Now, you could use gel pens for this or Posca, but I'm just worried, and I'm being honest here, if I put the colour on and I don't like it, it's not very forgiving. But I find with my pastel pencils, because I can smudge them, they're a lot more forgiving for me, and I'm not as almost frightened of doing it wrong. Because I almost want to add a hint of this lovely, you know, as I say, that sunrise, or, you know, when you just, it catches, it sort of glistens in the trees, doesn't it? But I don't want to overcook it. So I'm just thinking you'd probably get a little bit just on the field, wouldn't you? Just under where the sun is there. So again, I'm just going to smudge that out. And then maybe just a tiny bit. I mean, I don't know, I might be overthinking this, but I just think that just adds it to that whole feel of what I'm trying to, and I just think the pastel pencil, as I say, for me, is just that bit more forgiving. So I like that. I'm happy with that. And then what I want to do is just, and again, I'm going to have to move everything, want to add a little bit of something at the bottom. You know, I like to just put something down here. So what I'm thinking is, let's just add Pipin. Although he's facing the wrong way, shall we add a bird? Yeah, we quite often seem to use a bird for this part. Not very good, is it? I'm inking up on my tin. Do you ever do that? And then I think, no, I shouldn't have done that. So let's pop the bird on Lavinia stamps there. Again, I just like something at the bottom. I just think it really adds to the whole design. And maybe a little bit of grounding. So where did I put my oh, I'm leaning on them. So for those of you who are shouting, you're leaning on your pencils. I'm thinking if we just use the pastel pencil there, just for and just smudge it a little bit. I don't think it needs anything. Let's get the white and just do the old little bit of a wing there. Don't want to overcook it. Right, stop. So that gives me my space at the bottom. Now, the last thing I want to do here is, right now, I've just put my pastel pencils on the floor and Eric's here. I want to add a little bit. Now the sky, I'm going to add a little bit to that, but just something in the background. And I want to add something in the front, but it doesn't take away from the whole design. So what I'm thinking is I'm going to come in with my Mica Minerals, and this is the Pine Forest. And for this, we need our VersaMark ink. Now I like to try and keep my ink pad as clean as possible. So I'm going to use the field grass, but I have made sure my stamp is clean because I am that sort of, as you know, that sort of sad person. So I'm going to ink up. So your VersaMark is your sticky ink pad. Now it is useful just before you do this to get your heat tool and just pop it over to check that the ink is dry. Hopefully mine is. So we'll ink up, and I just want to add a couple of these. And if you've not used the Mica Minerals, honestly, you are in for a treat. And they just add a bit of something at the front without being over the top. It almost adds a bit of magic. I'm almost using this as my copy paper. Let's have one there. And you can just see a little bit. It does give a watermark. So I can just see. I think I'm going to stop there. I can always add another one. Now I have a little brush. And I'm just going to come in. And this is a lovely hint of green look. And I'm just going to dab that where we put our stamping with our VersaMark. And this is probably one of those products that you've got and you just forget to use. How many of us do that? Now I think we put one over there. And if you try and dab it on, you've less chance of smudging your VersaMark. So as I say, I'm just trying to dab, almost do a dabbing motion. Like I say, if you smudge it too much, it doesn't give. I mean, these stamps are so beautiful and so delicate. Right, I'm just going to put that to one side. What I'm going to do, I'm going to let that almost dry for a minute. And then at the top, I'm going to stamp my Sacred Spell stamp. I want a little bit of script, but I'm not sure how much I'll get because of the area here. So I'm going to take it off the block, going to ink it up, again with my sticky ink. And I just want this to almost be some, I didn't want any sort of shrubbery hanging down or any foliage. I just fancied some script. So I'm going to try it here. And then I'm just going to see if I can catch a little bit in this corner, slightly over the sun. but we shall see. That's the idea. So let's just come in and dab this. And then dab this just over the, and I didn't want to go for, I've gone for my sacred spells because it's quite a script. I don't want the words to be that the verse is an important verse. I almost want it to blend into the background. So again, I'm just dabbing on. And again, I'm not overusing. Look, I've got so much. These mica minerals go such a long way. But really important, pop the lid on. Yeah. Now for me, I would always give the mica minerals a little bit of time to dry. And I've got to be honest, try to find something soft to rub them off with. So I've gone for like a cotton pad here. I find if you use kitchen roll and it's very quilted, it can almost be too textured. So I'm just going to pop this over my bin now and just with my little cotton pad give it a wipe. I promise it is over the bin, it's not over Eric. And what it'll do is take away any excess and it'll just leave you with your beautiful mica minerals on the design that you've stamped. And it gets rid of, sometimes you can get what's called a bloom where you get the mica minerals around. Look, so you do get a little bit on your pad, but it literally will brush off the mica minerals from where you don't need it. And then pop that in the bin. And there we go. And I think that is just such a lovely, lovely design. The very last thing I'm going to do is with my yellow Posca, just because we've got the beautiful yellow up there, just come in and add just at the base. Again, if you don't like your Posca, don't add it. And we've got this lovely orange one again to just round my field grass. I want just a couple of, yeah, job done. So there's July. And as I say, look at the, can you see the lovely, the mica minerals? And look at the field grass. So in the different light, what I'm thinking is when the calendar's on the wall, as I walk in, the light will catch it. We've got our little bird at the bottom. So that's my offering for July. But I am thinking in the UK we have Father's Day. I'm sure it's in, is it in June or July? Do you know what? This will be a lovely design, but also for a male birthday card. And I just think it's nice to create some nice sun for a change. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'm hoping to maybe put my feet up. Maybe have a cheeky glass of bubbles a bit early tonight. I feel like a day off. So you take care. I'll see you again tomorrow. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.